guys, I'm back with another video. Today we are going to talk about shapes. There are two different sets of shapes that we need to know. The first one we're going to talk about are our plane shapes, and a lot of you already know what these shapes are. So our first one, we have a circle. Our next shape is a square. Our third one, I should be hearing you say these, is rectangle. And our final shape, way off to the side, is a triangle. Now, we can see that these are all very different, but the way we describe plane shapes is by the number of sides that they have and the number of vertices they have. So, vertices are where the two sides come together to make a point. So, on a circle, there aren't any points, so there are 0 vertices. On a circle, there are no straight sides, so there are 0 sides. That makes a circle pretty easy. There's no sides and no vertices. It's just a circle. It's round. A square has 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, and 4 sides. The number of vertices, again, vertices are where the sides come together to make a point. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has 4 sides and it has 4 vertices, the same number of sides as vertices. Let's look at our rectangle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Let's count the points, the vertices. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have, again, 4 sides and 4 vertices. The last one we have over here is a triangle. There's 1, 2, 3 sides. And then the vertices are the points. There's 1, 2, 3. So when it comes to describing these shapes, if I were to describe a shape that has no sides and no vertices, you would be able to tell me, oh, Mr. Stone, that's a circle. If I were to describe the shape that has 3 sides and 3 vertices, you would be able to tell me that it is a triangle. But what if I said there's a shape that has 4 sides and 4 vertices? How could you tell if that was a square or a rectangle? The answer is the sides on a square are all the same length. So if I described a shape that had 4 sides and 4 vertices and all of these sides were equal, you would know it was a square. A rectangle has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. So if I were to describe a shape that has 4 sides and 4 vertices, and it had 2 long sides and 2 short sides, you would be able to tell me that that is a rectangle. So again, plane shapes, we can describe the shapes using the number of sides and vertices, and for some of them we have to tell whether the sides are equal or not equal. Those are our plane shapes we have to know. So let's move on to our next one. These ones are a little bit tricky because they're different from what we have done before. These are called solid shapes. I have an example of each of them. We have our solid shapes. This first one is called a cube. Our second one looks kind of like a rectangle, right? It's It's called a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. And then our last shape down here is called a sphere. So there's a little bit of a difference between how we describe solid shapes and how we describe our plane shapes. Solid shapes, we count the number of faces, edges, and vertices. Oops. Faces, edges, and vertices. So let me go ahead and write these down. Faces, edges, vertices, faces, edges, vertices. Alright, faces are these. This is the face. So the faces are really kind of the flat surfaces on the shapes. So if we're counting the number of faces for a square, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, and 6. If you think about a dice, the highest number you can get on a dice is 6 because it only has 6 faces. The edges are these right here. Kind of like the sides on the other shapes, but they're called edges. There's, let's mark these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So there are 12 edges on a cube. 12 edges. And then our vertices are the same thing as with the plane shapes. It's the points where all of these edges come together. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there are 8 vertices. A rectangular prism has the same number of faces, same number of edges, and same number of vertices, just like a square and a rectangle. But again, each of these edges in a cube are equal. They are the same length. All of the faces on a cube are a square. So you need 6 squares to make up a cube because there are 6 faces. A rectangular prism has 2 long edges and 2 short edges, which means all of the faces are made up of, you guessed it, rectangles. Our last shape, just like a circle, is very easy. There are no faces, there are no edges, and there are no vertices. So that is a very, very simple one. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Remember, we have our plane figures, which are our flat ones. We describe them using sides and vertices. Then we have our solid shapes, which have faces, edges, and vertices. I will be back again later with some other math stuff. Please make sure you're working on this in your packet. There is some extra information in your packet. It does tell you the number of faces, edges, and vertices just to help you out. If you are struggling, please watch this video. It'll be on the YouTube channel forever and ever. Alright guys, see you later.